Borodar, or pronounced our every pony, this is BronyDan. It's not original, but hey, you try coming up with originality these days. Well, this was unexpected. Now, when I first read the synopsis for this particular episode, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, because I thought I knew what we were going to be getting. I knew what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, and so I immediately just thought it is going to be a very bad and predictable episode. But what we got was something that kind of touched me on a personal level, and because of this, it's kind of gone up as probably my favourite episode of the show. Why was this? Well, let's take a look at Amending Fences. We start off and...
You know the worst thing about you being the princess of friendship? The dishes.
Great. Even as a princess, Twilight, you still can't afford staff. Why don't you get Flash Sentry to help? I think everybody will be quite pleased with that.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? All these ponies coming to you for advice about friendship.
What's funny about that?
You know, because you used to be famous for being such a bad friend.
Wow. Way to be a dick, Spike.
You stupid pony.
So now Twilight starts to get upset over the fact of how she may have treated her friends back in Canterlot and decides to go back and... what else? Make amends. Didn't the writers kind of forget that the whole point of Twilight's journey from the beginning of this show was because she didn't have friends? I mean, even she said so herself, her only friend in Canterlot was Shining Armour. Well, anyway, Twilight and Spike arrive back at Canterlot and even stop by their old home, which really hasn't changed since the first episode. So now Twilight goes off to fix things with her friends, starting off with Minuet.
It's called...
Shut up! Look, I know the fans were expecting her to be called Colgate, but I think we can take this with the same thing with Bon Bon. We can call her that, or we can still call her Sweetie Drops.
It's Colgate!
Look, I'm calling her Minuet for this review, so shut up! Now, like I said, I thought I knew what this episode was going to be about based on its synopsis. Twilight was probably going to find her friends, and they would probably be either dicks to her because she abandoned them, or they would probably take advantage of the fact that she is now a princess. Actually, that's not what happens. In fact, Minuet, Lemonheart, and Twinkleshine, wow, that really is a character's name we'd expect from Season 1, are actually quite civil about it. They accept the fact that Twilight was never really a social pony, and her running off like that was probably something they'd expect her to do if it was something to do with her studies. I gotta admit, I'm liking this take. And we get a glimpse of Twilight's schooling, and... okay. Remember how I said in my review of Princess Spike that Twilight sounded like she was being possessed by Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls? Well, I probably should have held onto that joke because...
Well, I read ahead too, Moondancer, and I'm sure it said sodium chloride first.
Twilight then asks about their other friend, Moondancer. You know, the obvious Twilight recolored OC. So the girls go off to meet her. The reunion is not smooth.
It's us, your old friends.
Ugh.
That's old Moondancer, all right. She always did like her books. Hey, kind of like you used to be, huh?
Exactly how I used to be.
Yep, much like human Twilight at the end of Rainbow Rocks, Moondancer is basically what Twilight would be like if she hadn't gone off to Ponyville to learn about friendship, focusing more on studying than actually interacting with the outside world. But how did she get like this?
Remember when she threw that party?
There you are, Twilight. Moondancer is having a little get-together in the West Castle courtyard. You want to come?
Wow, we're getting loads of links back to the very beginning, aren't we? So now Twilight feels that she needs to make up with Moondancer for skipping out on her party. Maybe you could make up to her, Twilight, by giving her the number of a cosmetic to work on her eyebrows. Seriously, look at them! Peter Capaldi is looking at those and walking away in shame.
Look at the eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
So, after some failed attempts, including a method that Discord would be proud of, Twilight manages to convince Moondancer to join her and her friends for dinner. In exchange, Twilight will teach her one of Haycart's magic methods. Don't forget to mention that Rennie Haycart was a drunken fart who was just as sloshed as Schlegel.
What are you studying these days?
Science, magic, history, economics, pottery, things like that.
Yowza!
Wait, who's that in the background? Oh my god! Oh, wait, the dinner's over. Well, since that plan failed, Twilight decides that the best thing to do now is bring out the big guns.
That was awesome! We gotta go fly more often, Twilight!
Wait, so Pinkie could fly anyway without wings? I'm not questioning it because, I mean, it's Pinkie Pie, we don't question it, but she could fly, and yet she still had Twilight carry her all the way from Ponyville to Canterlot. Jesus Christ, Pinkie, you are lazy.
Minuet, meet... Hey, Pinkie Pie! Hi, Minuet! You two know each other? Oh, sure. She was one of Cadence's brides.
Shoutouts! Shoutouts! Shoutouts everywhere! So while Pinkie and Minuet get everything ready, Twilight and Spike plan to lure Moondancer using what I like to call the James Wood method.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Back when we were in school together, you invited me to a party. I was so focused on my studies that I didn't show. You've got to let me make this up to you.
And you think this is gonna do it, huh?
Yes? Well, sure. Why wouldn't it?
That was only the first time I ever put myself out there, and then you didn't even bother to show up. Then you left town without saying goodbye, even though we were supposed to be friends. I was humiliated. I felt like I wasn't important. I never wanted to let myself be hurt like that again. Those three finally convinced me that I had value, that other ponies might like me and want to be my friend, and you didn't show up! Ah!
You know, I often sympathize and relate to the outcasts in my favourite shows and movies. For example, I can sympathize and relate to Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter series, because even though she's a bit odd and eccentric, she just doesn't care and still keeps a positive attitude. I appreciate that with her. With My Little Pony, while I can sympathize with the main six, there hasn't really been a moment where I felt I could actually relate to them. Except now. I so relate to Moondancer because she is basically me from what I was like back when I was in school. Now, in school, of course, we all had, you know, those people that we would call friends because they were just in your same class and you saw them every day. But we all had that one friend who you would say that was my best friend. I would take a bullet for them. And from the ages of 3 to 11, I did have that. We were inseparable when we were in school. We drew together. We hung out at each other's houses whenever we could. We would reenact some of our favourite scenes from movies when we were out playing in the yard. In fact, people tend to think that we were actually brothers, and that didn't really help that we both had the same surname as well. Cut to secondary school, and it was there that I began to realise that we weren't as close as we used to be, because while he was moving up, you know, in the ranks of the school and bonding with a lot of the more popular kids and going out to their parties and, you know, talk and, you know, chatting and everything about the stuff that they were related to, like sports and everything, I found myself going lower in the ranks of the school until it did get to a point where I was literally the school punching bag for pretty much every single year, which is a really humiliating experience for me, and it did hinder my ability to sort of speak out, and I just sort of accepted it. I would try many attempts to, you know, reconcile with my old friend, because, you know, I just felt that, you know, maybe we could do something together like we used to. It never happened. And so, much like with Moondancer, I just gave up trying to make friends, and I spent more time in the library, because I just felt, what was the point? Because if these people don't really care about me and what I feel, then why should I care? Much like how with Moondancer accepting the friendship that is given to her, and how Twilight then begins to understand how she feels, personally, I felt that this is just one of the best messages that the show has ever put out, at least to me, because for me, I would say it's been an improvement in my life. I've got back together with an old friend that I hadn't seen because he went to a different school to me during those 5 years. But I also got more acquainted with that old friend of mine, and even though it's not as close as we used to be, it has made me feel a lot stronger about making friends, and I've just got to say, it's because of that I've now going out to my local theatre companies, and I'm always happy to make new friends with them. I can talk with them as well as I used to. So, yeah, that's really just shows what power friendship can really have on you. Well done, M.A. Larson. You got me fucking emotional, you git. I guess you can see why I feel this takes the spot of favourite episode for me. For people who do have social problems, the message of, you know, don't give up on friendship because of one little thing is a rather important one. Normally I would judge an episode on its comedy because that's the sort of thing I look for in a show like this, but because of its strong moral and relatable character, I didn't need to do that. This was just a fantastic episode from start to finish. This is BronyDan, and I'm gonna go make a call.